Imagine this, you wake up one morning, and for the first time in your life, there is nothing left to prove. Every goal you've ever set, achieved. Every flaw you've ever obsessed over, fixed. Every expectation, every demand, every lingering doubt, gone. You stand in front of the mirror, expecting to feel something different, something final. But instead, there it is, that same gnawing emptiness, the quiet, suffocating sense that you are still not enough. How could this be? You spent years chasing success, sculpting your identity, perfecting every aspect of yourself. Wasn't this the promised land? The moment where peace would finally settle over you, where you would look at yourself and feel complete. But deep inside, a horrifying realization begins to dawn. There is no finish line, no grand arrival. The feeling you were chasing was never real. It was a mirage, retreating further the closer you got. Why is it that no matter what you achieve, no matter how much validation you receive, the sense of being enough remains just out of reach? Is it a cruel trick of the mind, a flaw in human nature? Or is there something more sinister at play, something woven into the very fabric of our psychology and society? Perhaps the real problem isn't that you haven't done enough. Perhaps the problem is the question itself, the haunting, relentless need to feel good enough. But where does this need come from? And why does it hold such terrifying power over us? To understand, we must go deeper into the roots of identity, the hidden forces of the mind, and the silent conditioning that shapes our entire perception of self-worth. From the moment you were born, the world began whispering a message into your mind. You are incomplete. You are a work in progress, a raw material to be molded, an empty vessel that must be filled. And so the shaping began. By parents, teachers, society, culture, you learned that your worth wasn't inherent but conditional. It depended on your achievements, your behavior, your ability to meet expectations. Psychologist Carl Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to fit into the world. From childhood, you were taught to construct this mask, to refine it, to make it palatable. Every flaw had to be hidden. Every imperfection had to be corrected. Your value, it seemed, lay not in who you were, but in how well you performed. But beneath this carefully curated persona lurked the shadow, the parts of yourself you were forced to reject, suppress and bury, your fears, your insecurities, your so-called weaknesses. Over time, the gap between the mask and the buried self grew wider. And with it, so did the quiet, aching sense that something was missing. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw through this illusion. He warned of the dangers of living by society's standards rather than forging one's own path. Become who you are, he urged, but how could you, when the very foundation of your identity was built on external validation? This is the hidden trap. The pursuit of being good enough is not about self-improvement. It is about control, a system designed to keep you chasing, striving, proving, all while ensuring you never truly arrive. But if this is the case, what happens when you stop playing the game? What happens when you refuse to measure yourself by these impossible standards? The consequences are deeper and more dangerous than you might think. What happens when you spend your entire life chasing a feeling that never arrives? The answer is quiet, insidious, and devastating. You become trapped, not just in endless self-improvement, but in a psychological war against yourself. Your mind, conditioned to seek external validation, learns a dangerous trick. It begins to move the goalposts. Each time you accomplish something, the feeling of enough fades before you can grasp it. You get the job, but now you need a promotion. You fix your body, but now you find a new flaw. You gain respect, but suddenly, admiration isn't enough. You crave worship. The more you achieve, the more the bar rises. Like a mirage in the desert, the oasis of self-worth remains forever out of reach. This isn't an accident. It's how society sustains itself. The modern world thrives on your self-doubt. Advertisers sell you the illusion of completeness. If only you buy this, achieve that, become more. Social media amplifies the deception, showing you curated lives that seem effortlessly whole. And deep down you absorb the message. Everyone else is enough. Why aren't you? But it doesn't stop there. The longer you chase the illusion, the more fragile your identity becomes. You stop seeing yourself as a person and start seeing yourself as a project, one that is always unfinished, always unworthy. And then the most dangerous thing happens. You forget who you were before the world told you who to be. You lose touch with the real you, buried beneath expectations, achievements, and an unshakable fear of failure. But what if there was another way? What if you could break the cycle instead of feeding it? The answer isn't what you expect, and it demands nothing less than a rebellion. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast empty field. No expectations, no comparisons, no voices telling you what you should be. Just silence. Terrifying, isn't it? Because for the first time, there's no script, no metric to prove your worth, no external judge to validate your existence. Just you. This is where the rebellion begins, not by becoming more, but by rejecting the need to be anything other than what you already are. The first act of defiance? Stop chasing the illusion. The system thrives on your pursuit of enoughness. It wants you to believe that self-worth is something earned, something conditional. But what if it isn't? What if you were never meant to be complete in the way you were taught? Philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre argued that existence precedes essence. We are not born with predefined meaning. We create it, but most never realize this, because they're too busy chasing a fabricated sense of worth. True liberation comes when you stop asking, "Am I enough?" and start asking, "Who am I beyond this question?" Nietzsche called this the path of the Übermensch, the individual, who defines their own values rather than obeying inherited ones. To break free, you must dismantle the scripts written for you, the roles, the comparisons, the arbitrary standards. This isn't about self-improvement. It's about self-remembering. The moment you stop proving yourself, you start being yourself. And in that raw, unfiltered state, you discover something radical. The question of enough was never real. It was a prison of the mind. But what happens when you step outside the prison? What remains when the illusion collapses? The answer is the most unsettling truth of all. Now imagine the prison doors swinging open. No more striving. No more measuring yourself against invisible standards. No more waiting for permission to feel whole. What remains? At first, nothing. Just an unsettling void, because for so long, your identity was built on chasing, proving, and fixing. Without that chase, who are you? This is where most people turn back. They return to the comfort of self-doubt because it gives them direction, a purpose, even if that purpose is suffering. But if you dare to stand in the void, something extraordinary happens. You realize you were never incomplete to begin with. The final truth is this: you will never feel good enough, because enough was never real. It was a lie, an arbitrary metric, imposed by a society that profits from your insecurity. A false pursuit that kept you from seeing what was always there, your unfiltered, unmeasured self. Arthur Schopenhauer once said, "A man can be himself only so long as he is alone. Not physically alone, but free from the noise of expectations, free from the illusion that worth is something to be earned, rather than something you are." The greatest rebellion is not to become better, but to be, to strip away every borrowed belief, every external measure, and stand in the raw truth of your existence. Not perfect, not incomplete, just real. And when you reach that place, when you stop chasing and start being, you'll notice something strange. The feeling you were searching for, the sense of enough, it was never missing. It was only buried beneath everything you were told to be.